Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival with LD7. We're now on Rontan's moon, just going around trying to find those Pentaxid deposits. I found two so far. One of them was next to a Xerax oxygen depot that had laser turrets, so the moment I landed they started shooting at me, so I just got out of there because we are not teched up enough to be able to handle laser turrets. The other one that I found was literally underneath a Xerax supply station, so same thing. We're not going to be able to take that. It's just too difficult. At this point, we don't have good enough weapons. Like, if I could destroy the base or whatever, it'd be fine. But we don't quite have that ability yet. So I'm not going to risk it and, lose our ship and get stranded here, because that's not what we want to have happen. There's no plants up here, so we wouldn't be able to build a constructor or anything like that in order to restart so we could fly back to planet Rontan. So we're not going to take the risk. Anyway, we're just kind of flying around. Most of this moon is basically controlled by the Xerax, so I think most likely the Pentaxid deposits are all going to be in their territory and pretty heavily guarded. So we might end up having to fly back to our home system in order to get, what we need. So let's see, there's a little bit unmarked there, a little bit up there, but we've pretty much covered the whole moon. It's pretty small, honestly. We found all the deposits except for cobalt, which we don't really need. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to go warp back to the home system and go to that moon instead, because hopefully we can find some Pentaxid there that's not, guarded by laser turrets. Anyway, guys, let's take a look. I mean, we still have 50 AU worth of warp capability here, so we should be fine to go to the home system and back a couple of times without too much hassle. So we're going to go ahead and set our lock on Thechia, our home system. And where are you at? So we can warp there. Okay, we gotta go around the planet. That's fine. Doesn't take too long, honestly. You just kind of go at an angle or what have you, and it sets you up pretty good. So, get all aimed up. Cool. And we're gonna afterburner into our warp, and here we go. Awesome, we're warping. So once we get back, I'm gonna go straight to the moon, I think, and check that out. See, I believe it has Pentaxid deposits as well, so that should work pretty good for us. Hopefully. I mean, we'll find out, obviously. If it's the same as the other moon where it's just guarded by Xerax, we might have to come up with a little bit better plan on how to attack and everything, because it is not super easy to, defeat laser turrets, or even just a normal turret on a base has a lot of health. Like those projectile turrets I have on my base, I think it's something like 25,000 health, or is some ridiculous number. So by the time we can even output that damage from our ship, they will have shot us down. So if we decide to take on a base, we're not going to be doing it with the ship. We're just going to be using our, hand weapons or whatever. We do have a rocket launcher, and we do have some explosives, so it might work out okay. But we'll see. So you might actually end up getting a little bit of combat content this time. We'll find out, though, once we get to the moon. Anyway, I'm pretty excited for the capital vessel to be built, so we can, go get some Zarcotium and Erestrium. That way we can upgrade everything, I think it'll be pretty good. Once we have the capital vessel, that unlocks pretty much travel to anywhere. So the next stage of the game after we get Zarcotium and Erestrium is going to be get enough Pentaxid so we can go to another star system and take a look at that kind of content, because that's what's new, basically, since the last time I played, is you can actually leave the system. I mean, before, when I played it last, you could go to all the planets and everything. I don't believe they had limits on the warps. Maybe they did, but I was able to build a capital vessel so quickly that it didn't really matter. So we'll see what happens here. I'm pretty excited. Obviously, I would have liked to have built a little bit cooler capital vessel than the one that we did, just because it looks like a box, but you know what? It was pretty resource effective, all things considered. So that's the reason why we picked the ship that we did. We're probably going to build some rocket turrets for it, as well as some projectile turrets, just so we can gunboat that thing out. Just in case. I mean, the other cool thing about doing that is it effectively... A capital vessel is basically like a flying base, is how I like to think about it. So, if you build one and you have all these turrets on it, you can effectively no longer build any bases. You don't need a base because it goes with you, as opposed to you needing to go to it, if that makes sense. So, we're gonna outfit it with some good weapons and everything, and hopefully that does what we want. So there is 2 more unmarked Pentaxid. So there's one over here. We will go to that one first, because it's kind of in our line of sight. There's probably a drone guarding it, that's why we didn't get it before, is my guess. I don't know, though. We'll find out. Hopefully it's not too heavily guarded, so we can actually, you know, get a little bit. So this is probably, yep, okay. So there's a large minigun drone, it looks like. Got him. Alright, that was pretty easy, because it was only a level 1. So that is the benefit, I guess, of going back to the home world. Everything's like super low level, so we can just wreck it hella easy. So we get this. We'll go ahead, grab... These little guys are also Pentaxid, so worth gathering. Gonna go get all these crystals first, then we'll go ahead and take a look at mining out the actual deposit. Because even though it only gives us like 1 or 2, it still adds up. I mean, each raw material is worth 2 of the refined material. So, you know, if you get 5, you've got 10 AU worth of warp. And honestly, there aren't a lot of Pentaxid deposits, as I'm sure you guys can tell. So I think this might actually be a reasonably effective way to do this. You just kind of run around, gather up these crystals, mine out the deposits that you can find, and stuff like that. I do want to show off the drill, so when we mine the deposit, you'll get to see how that works. It's so much faster than the survival tool, like it just chews through the rock and everything. So it should be, well, I'm excited to show you guys how it works, because I haven't yet. Anyway, let's see. I know we're kind of distracted here going for these crystals, but whatever, that's fine. The deposit's not going anywhere. We already killed the defender, so who the hell cares? We'll get as much resource as we can. Is kind of how I see it, because we're gonna need it. I mean, all this Pentaxid is not like it's barely gonna be enough for what we want to do, probably. Meaning getting to Ramel's system, but we still want it. So I mean, I don't think it hurts anything going for these little crystals and what have you, because I think we're gonna have to do that anyway, all things considered. So once we get a little closer, we'll get this last crystal, and then we'll mine down to the deposit. So the way that these Pentaxid, I think I've shown you guys before, it's similar to the Cobalt or not Cobalt, Promethium, where they have these little stones. So here's the drill. As you can see, it just like chews through, and we get like a shit ton of stone every time it does. So what did we get? 33. Awesome. That's actually pretty good. So let's go back to the ship and see if we can find another deposit. It looked like we had 2 of them marked, though, so I might see where the other one is, and we might just go to that, because honestly, it's probably going to be easier. Not what I want. I don't care about the minigun drone. I just want my ship. Here we go. Alright, so now we're up in the air again, all happy as can be, and let's see if we can find the other deposit. That's Promethium. It is in Xerax territory. However, we're probably going to be able to take them out, so it looked like it was northeast, I think. Just double check, make sure. Yeah, that's about right. So Let's go northeast.